Welcome to the Holonet Podcast. I'm Simon, and I'm one of the three co-hosts of our weekly podcast that we'll be doing on Star Wars The Old Republic. This week, we'll be giving our first impressions of the game after the weekend beta, the pros and cons, our favorite and least favorite aspects and why, our overall impression, and we'll be discussing, is BioWare really ready for release? What are our launch day plans? What classes we'll be playing as our main and why? The current state of PvE and PvP, and how we feel about BioWare's new take on questing, with each quest being fully voiced. Alright, with me tonight are my two other co-hosts, Jake and Aaron. How you guys doing?
Doing alright, boss.
Pretty good.
Pretty good? That's good to hear. Alright, let's talk about our first impressions. Aaron, let's hear you first. How did you feel?
First impressions? Well, after the first couple of hours of playing, um, probably the first thing that struck me really was the graphics. They had a lot of good facial animations for the introductory quests and talking, but the bodies themselves seemed kind of made out of polygons. They looked pretty blocky.
Yeah.
I don't know. What did you guys see?
Uh, in graphics wise, I definitely agree. Their graphics are really across the board, especially when it came to the bodies, like you were saying. Like some armor and some clothing was 2D, while the others it was really detailed. But I was really impressed by how they handled the facial animations with talking. Most of the time, it synced up really well, and I was quite impressed.
I just want to say, when Nick and I went in for our first time, this is about the first impression. When we first went in for our first time, we both had a small resolution, and we definitely noticed. And then we propped it up to 1080. But
Yeah.
also, I agree with you guys about the facial resolution, or the facial expression type of things, where they look a little bit lower quality. But other than that, I think like the actual gameplay and also the graphics related to the character ourselves is pretty good.
Yeah.
It should also be noted we were playing on high without anti-aliasing as opposed to ultra
Yeah.
anti-aliasing.
That's
Yeah.
true. During release, there will be an ultra setting along with anti-aliasing enabled. And from what I've seen on screenshots on Reddit, anti-aliasing and ultra graphics do actually help a little bit of that out. But I guess we'll really actually see for sure when release day comes. Was lag an issue for any of you guys?
I had a lag issue once, and that was it.
I had no lag issues. I initially played in the beta before these two guys here, so I had a ton of issues when I first joined in one of the original couple of okay, so like a week before in the beta, there was a lot of lag issues. When the open beta stress test started, I didn't have any, and that's weird because there was more people on the servers, so
Yeah.
they did a pretty good job of handling it.
Yeah, I think that was a big issue during the previous beta. So, and they had a 10 gig patch, so that probably cleared up some of the issues that they were having.
I,
Um,
I do have something to say. It's
Alright.
it's not necessarily lag, but I don't feel like it fits into anywhere else in the curriculum that we have planned out. But that issue where I kept getting stuck around the rocks, I'm sure you remember that. I had a
oh
few
yeah, you would get
instances.
stuck everywhere. Like,
Yeah, but that just happened to you.
no, I
Yeah,
had it. There was an area in Terrace where there was like a full, probably 100-meter section that was just everybody would get stuck, and it sucked. But
one of the biggest issues I had was getting stuck in smaller rocks, and then another one I had where I was on an island, and I would go up on the top, and I was gonna go jump down, but I started typing, and it like bugged out, and I started like going up and down, up and down, and I actually would have stayed there and made a new character unless he told me about the /stuck command.
Oh,
yeah,
they have a pretty good slash stock. I'm not gonna lie. Like it actually moves you fairly, like a
Yeah.
fair distance away.
well, if it doesn't move you, it kills you. So
Oh, I don't know. It always moved me.
yeah. For me, lag was an issue, but it wasn't as big as issue. It wasn't screen lag. It was mostly delay lag. Like the server would lag for about a 10-second period, and then everybody would rubber band. But that didn't
Yeah,
happen nearly as frequently as I thought it would.
Well, I
that
see. I
was
don't
the
have
only
any of that either.
that was the only lag that I had. Remember, Nick, when we were walking down the trail,
Yeah.
and he said, "Yeah."
N-
Started, everyone started running a place for me, and apparently I was the one lagging, but I don't know.
Oh, well, I
Well,
don't know if that's game lag or if that's maybe your internet connections. We'll probably
no,
have to.
that's not my internet connection. Chat got flooded afterwards with what the fuck happened, sort of thing. So at least I'm pretty sure it
Did
wasn't me.
anyone else have? I mean, I'm not even sure if that's considered game lag or just like the bad optimization, but the mobs that just continually evade hits.
I actually never had any of that.
Okay,
The
because
only
that's the only type of lag I had.
I didn't have that, but they do have similar issues like that in WoW.
Well, I mean, the only evade I had was when you would pull a mob, run at a distance, and then it would run back and you tried to hit it and it would
Yeah.
evade. But I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that's a bug or an issue.
No.
Alright. How did you guys feel about the UI when you entered the game?
I wanted to kill myself.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I don't like it.
The only thing that bugs me, maybe it's just because I've seen something similar, but I still can't get over how the looting system, especially, looks just like Star Trek.
Yeah, well, no one else
Yeah.
played Star Trek, so nobody else knows that.
No, Star Trek was fairly popular.
No, it
Actually, quite a few people. Not on the scale of this, WoW, or like Rift, but a lot of the diehards that came over, or that are coming over to Star Wars, came from Star Trek Online. So,
No, I didn't have a problem with the looting system. I just feel maybe after playing WoW for so long, there wasn't enough customization options and
yeah.
mods to be able to like I'm used to in WoW being able to pull my UI bars wherever I want them on the map.
Yeah.
And I guess I mean you couldn't do that when WoW first came out, so
I think that the MMO community has definitely been spoiled by the features that WoW has implemented and, like, changed over the years.
now is WoW mod friendly or did is it just easy to hack?
WoW? No, it's pretty. It's add-on friendly. I mean,
Well, they
they
have an
even have
add-on option, right? So
yeah, they have an add-on option. So I mean, WoW greets add-ons with an open arm. They do crack down on world-changing add-ons. Like I forget which one it was, but it created circles that showed you where not to stand. They frown on that, but let's get back to Star Wars and but I had some issues with the UI. It wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it would be, but my biggest issue was target of target. As a tank, that's huge for me. It's, especially in flashpoints where we had operations or raids. I was doing the world boss on Coruscant, and you have to switch every 5 stacks. And me and this other tank, we couldn't tell who the fuck had aggro. So I think that's definitely something that they're gonna need to implement.
that wouldn't be target of target. That would be threat.
No, that'd be target of target, because you couldn't tell who he was targeting. Because
Oh,
the
okay,
tanks had
okay.
to stack.
Well, I think threat would fix that
A
immediately.
threat meter definitely would fix
That
that.
was the only problem I had when tanking was threat, and the UI wasn't even bad. It was just that I couldn't move it around. It was like
Yeah.
the positioning that they put it in was a bit weird.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if they had something similar to Guild Wars, where you can customize it, the size and the shapes.
Yeah. I haven't customized a Guild Wars UI in a long time, but the only issue I had an issue with the looting system, but it was I couldn't tell how like the rarity of an item easily enough in the bags, like the differentials between them. Anybody else have that issue?
Oh, what do you mean? Like if you hover
Like
over an
between
item,
like a
or if you're just
not
looking at the
necess-
picture?
if you're just looking at the pictures, you can't really distinctly tell what's what.
Well, they're colored.
Yeah, but it's not like obvious.
They're green or blue.
That's
Yeah,
only if you hover over
it's
them.
not overly obvious. It's only if you hover over them.
Oh. Oh, I see.
Yeah, I had two items that looked the same. One was a purple item, and one was just a random trash. So,
Yeah. So.
I mean, I guess it's not too much effort to hover over it, but they could make the outline of the square just a particular color.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you loot it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one thing I did like when you had a rare item. Like there would be a beam of light shooting at the guy's ass.
And it's
Yeah, I
based on
remember
the
that.
color, right? So
Yeah.
it could be green, it could even be quest item.
Yeah.
You don't have to loot something if you don't want to, but
Yeah,
you'll know if it's
exactly.
got something good in it.
Exactly. I couldn't necessarily tell the difference between the light blue, which was just random trash, and the actual blue that was an item. I mean, if you really focused, you could, but I think it was a little too similar. But in general, I really loved that system.
I kept thinking I was getting a rare item, and it was a quest item.
But yeah. Oh yeah, with the gold.
Yeah.
Request was yellow, right? Request item
Uh,
was yellow.
it was yellow or goldish.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the combat system. How did you guys feel about that?
It was pretty sick.
In which?
Yeah.
How? Why?
It was just sick. I mean, I don't know. Well, when I first started playing, I made a gunslinger or no, I made a trooper, and I actually thought I had to push like one and then click. It was pretty bad, and then I found out you could just push tab. But I like the tabbing thing and being able to shoot and use all your stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
I
I'm going to
think
assume
that.
it's different based on your class as well.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's definitely different with the smuggler and the cover system, which I think they did okay. I'm not necessarily a fan of the predetermined cover system. But once you're a gunslinger, you make your own cover system. So I mean, that was pretty cool.
That was fairly annoying running around everywhere, seeing that.
Yeah. Once you if you go gunslinger, it's not nearly as bad. And I guess if you go smuggler or scoundrel, I mean, you're either healing or like right up in their face, so you don't really need cover. But I found it interesting. I don't really think I have a definite positive or negative on it.
I wouldn't say it's outstanding, but it's not like it's just generic MMO combat system. They did take out the auto attack, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I guess some people will find that annoying, but if you're actually at the keyboard, then having to press it will save time.
Yeah. I think it'll add a higher skill ceiling because it'll require an actual action instead of having a raw DPS number that won't necessarily drop below a certain percentage because you're auto attacking.
You'll have to choose the skills used wisely.
Yeah, because it's either auto attack or use not auto attack, but your main
Basic.
attack or use a skill.
Yeah, because you'll show the same global cooldown. I don't know, as I found with my Jedi Knight, I had to use auto attack because it built the rage the fastest.
Yeah.
Or the focus points the fastest. So I guess you got to determine what's the optimum like rotation.
I think that they could use turning down or lessening the global cooldown though. I think I read it's at 1.5 seconds. I think if it went down to maybe a second or 1.25 would be a little better. I think it was a little high for all your skills being based off of a global cooldown. All right. Next, let's go to our favorite aspect and least favorite aspect. Start with you.
Me?
Yeah, you.
No, I'm thinking. I'm not sure yet.
Oh,
Guy who
alright.
keeps jumping on his bed.
Aaron, how about you?
My favorite aspect? Well, it's
Favorite
obviously going to
aspect.
be the big selling point of the game. It's completely voice acted. All the quests have choices, so your choices are going to, even if it doesn't seem like it, they're directly going to affect your gameplay. So choices I made in my starting zone when I was like level 6 or 7 came back when I was doing my level 20 quests.
Yeah.
At the same time, that's also my least favorite aspect. At the same time, because if I do accidentally pick a wrong choice, there's no chance to ever redo that. It's set in stone.
I've got first-hand experience of what you're talking about here.
Skyrim.
Yes, just for those of you who are watching, I played Skyrim, and I killed a guy at the beginning, and I killed another guy, and I stole some crap, and everyone wanted to kill me everywhere I went.
Yeah. So we had to restart.
After like 5 hours.
So, do you have a least favorite aspect, Jake? Most your favorite? All right. While you think, I'll go.
Yeah. Okay.
I definitely think the story aspect. It plays like an RPG, yet it's an MMO. I like that. For the longest time, I was pressing escape to save because I felt like I was playing like a BioWare RPG. Like I felt like I was playing KOTOR 3, which I really liked. Yet, again, like Aaron said, I didn't necessarily like it because I'm playing an MMO for the sake of playing an MMO, not to play an RPG. But I guess I'll have to wait and see how that works at higher levels.
It's going to help replayability.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, you'll mostly be playing three different games. I mean, yeah, there's similar side quests, but I don't think it'll be too bad. Jake, what's your...
I can't really think of any cons at the moment. Like, I'm sure I have some, but I just can't think of them right now. But for the pros, I also really like how they have the voice questing, and I like how you can see the options of if you're choosing dark or light when that time comes during the quest chain. And yeah, I just can't think of it right now.
I kind of feel the game would be better if you couldn't see what points you were
Yeah,
gonna get.
I
If
Well,
you looked at it and then you're like, yeah, because then that way you don't base your decisions based on what's gonna give you the points.
the
yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, when Nick and I first started out, we went almost like a whole day and a half without knowing, and then I found out, and then you knew, but you didn't tell us. But I was actually choosing answers I thought were right, and they were actually wrong. One
Yeah.
specifically was when I was in the cave, and the bad guy, the bad guy appeared, or his like minions appeared, saying that they were gonna take the lightsaber away from us. You know, like the hilt.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm gonna kill you. And then I got like negative 150 dark points. I didn't know that was gonna be bad. I thought I was doing the right thing.
Yeah. For the consular, it's really, at least for the consular, it's really not cut and dry, because your good is you're like a goody two shoes, your light side options, but dark is kind of like you're a bit of a prick, but you're not necessarily dark. I mean, the best smuggler options are nearly dark side for the consular, which I felt is a little weird. I also think that their light side dark side system is broken at the moment because um, badge gear, certain badge gear requires light side or dark side points to a certain level, and if you don't have that, you can't get it. But so I feel like that you're either forced to go one way or another, even if you don't want to choose that specific option because you don't think it's right. So I was forced, instead of choosing what I thought was right, to basically go the constant light side option because I needed the gear. So,
I
but
think if you just play the game as a pimp, then you get a lot of dark side points. I found out.
yeah, pretty much like you. You literally fucked every woman you could.
Yeah.
What would Anakin do? Was your slogan, if I remember right.
Yep. At level 6, I'd already taken like the matriarch of the starting zone towns.
So, I hope they really implement the gray side benefits beforehand, because I think I'll probably go gray. I don't necessarily want to have to go to diplomacy to counteract what decision I make during questing. So, um, let's talk about. Do you guys think BioWare is ready to release the game in under 2 weeks?
For
God, that's so
the
crazy.
early access or
Yeah.
for the
Well,
actual
that I
live?
mean,
The
early
game goes
access.
live.
I consider early access
That's live.
basically launch.
You know, I don't even actually think the early access is a privilege. I think it's their way of making sure the servers don't crash by an overflow. They can distribute the amount of people over 5 days.
Pretty much. That's what I think too.
Are they ready for it? Is depend. I think the game is ready, but are their servers or their customer service or the MMO things that are going to get hit hard ready? Probably not. Uh, they're an RPG developer. They don't have people phoning them repeatedly with account problems, which they're going to start having as soon as this game comes out.
They've already had that with the security question debacle.
That's true. I'm still stuck in that, by the way.
So, I agree to an extent, but I think I'd actually take it a step further and say that I think this game actually needs maybe 6 more months
For what?
fine tuning. Um, maybe not 6 months, but
That's a long time.
there was a lot of bugs, like you even pointed this out, like during cutscenes where you take out a lightsaber, nothing would come out, and you'd just be waving your hand around. Sometimes my lightsaber would disappear, and I'd just be like, it'd be in my hand, but I couldn't actually see it. I think that there's just overall a lot of bugs and things that need to be worked out. And I may be over paranoid about this because I don't want people to play it and then have them get the wrong impression and leave and have it fail, because I want it to succeed so much that I actually want the finished product to be the launch product. But it's not going to happen like that, so I think I kind of need to accept it for what it is.
Are you eating your mic?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm not.
Me.
Yes,
Yeah.
you.
No.
Oh. Well, anyways,
Oh, I was
thanks for
playing with a
asking.
cap. My bad.
Oh. I don't think it's necessarily ready, and I've also heard from other people that they don't think it's ready. Um, I definitely don't think they're gonna be able to take out all the bugs in the amount of time, and I really hope that, like you guys said, that people don't get the wrong idea and leave, because I could definitely see that happening.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's an
like
MMO is their only problem.
Nick and I actually felt the same way with Star Trek, but it was the end game how it had
Yeah.
nothing to do, and so we ended up stop. We totally stopped. We came
Yeah.
back like 6 months later,
I,
but
I, I think BioWare is going to be pretty proactive about their end game and their releasing of content. Atari and I forget who that developed Star Trek Online really kind of did nothing for a year. Go on. Sorry, I interrupted you.
I don't remember what I was gonna say now. Thank you.
You
Anyway,
thought,
it's an MMO though is the problem. So like it's like even if they fix a bug, there's gonna be a new bug somewhere else. At what point do you decide it's perfect to release it? I mean, WoW
well,
had tons of bugs.
well, I still think there might be some game-breaking things for somebody.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's really up in the air. I know that they've been working on a new build for the last few months that they haven't released, or they just now released. So hopefully that fixes some of the issues. All right. What are your guys' launch day plans?
I'm gonna be working.
I was just thinking. I don't know if I'm scheduled or not yet
Wait,
until
what
the
day?
time comes.
It depends when I get the access. If I get the access the immediate 5 days, I'll be fine. Uh, but more than likely for the first week of the game's released, I'll only be playing. Well, I'll only be playing 5 hours a day.
Probably. Yeah, because you get home around 10:30. It'll be about 3. So
I'll definitely be putting it into around my work schedule.
And you work like 2 days a week, so that's not really bad.
Oh, it's so funny.
that's like 2 weeks before Christmas. I'm sure I'll be working quite a bit.
Who buys clothes before Christmas? Everyone
Who
knits
buys
their own
clothes
clothes.
for Christmas presents? Quite a few people,
Cheap people.
pretty much. Vain people.
But yeah,
Um,
I don't expect to be playing it that much on release.
I plan to be playing quite a bit. I don't think I have anything going on. I
I think
think
it's gonna be level 30. Be like level 12.
probably. I
But you'll
think
be raiding.
my last final is on the 15th, so hopefully, um, yeah. So do you plan to level quickly or slowly? Take
Well,
your time, enjoy the story, or rush right through it.
I'm probably gonna rush right through it.
I'm gonna
I'll
rush
prob-
right through it.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, the thing with the multiple questions is I can rush right through it and just replay it as another class. Problem solved. I don't think
Very
there's
true.
any benefits to doing the side quest because, like any MMO, the gear that you're gonna get isn't gonna really perk. The gear that you get from doing side quests is not going to actually help you level faster than just plowing through it.
Yeah, but you can't necessarily only do your class quest.
Yeah, but I mean, internally, those class quests basically tell you what side quests that you have to do. So
Kinda. I mean, they point you to the area, but they don't actually determine it.
I found that just by doing the main quests and the easy side quests, I was, to be honest, I was a level or two below what I should be. So you should probably do some of the side quests. You can't just plow through the main storyline.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do have to do the side quests.
I had an issue not doing them because I had a little OCD.
In the beta.
Yeah. I'll at least be playing through to 25 where I stopped pretty quickly. So, what characters do you plan on maining once launch day comes?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. Probably a counselor to heal, or I don't know. Either that or just go smuggler.
Smugglers can heal also. If
I
you
don't
didn't know.
know. I know. I've heard that everyone can heal a little bit to an extent. I need to do more research on the healing because
Yeah.
I do want to heal.
As far as I'm aware, none of the. If you pick the tanking advanced classes, they don't really have any heals, but the rest pretty much do.
Um, yeah, actually, except for the knight and the warrior.
The knight does have self heals though. I have the class I'm going to be playing is obviously the Jedi Guardian because it's going to be carrying over all my tanking from WoW and other games, and also I feel tanks more than likely going to be the most needed class, and I like being able to jump into instances straight away.
That's pretty much the exact same reasoning I'm going in Shadow Tank.
Looks like I'll be the heal bitch.
You're always the heal bitch.
I am always the heal bitch. I love healing though, so that's all good.
You can never blame the tank. You can always blame the healer is also another reason that
I've blamed the tank plenty of times.
Yeah, but no one's gonna know if it's a tank's problem because there's no threat meters.
Until there's a threat meter, yeah. Or unless somebody pulls threat, and then you can always blame it on the DPS for not watching threat.
I'm not even sure to an extent how the threat is working in this game, but I'm sure we'll find out when the end game raids start coming around.
I'll just make a second account and have them in the raid with us at all times, saying, "What the hell, tank? What are you doing?"
Of course you will.
Well, that would. I mean, the one thing I noticed in the spotlights is you can either have your companion with you or a player. So.
Can you take your companion into raids and stuff?
No, they count as a person.
They count as a person, but you can take them in.
But it's more beneficial to always have a player.
Yeah. Usually. I mean, you can do like heroic flash. I don't know if they're considered flashpoints, but like heroic quests with one like another person and your guys' companions.
Yeah, heroic quests are fine because I don't think they're instants. Most of them.
No.
Well, some of them where I went to.
Yeah, actually, most of them. Some. It's hard to say. Some are.
There's also world bosses, which in theory you would always have your companions out for.
I don't even think you can necessarily use a companion. You can, but I don't think you'd want to. World bosses aren't the easiest thing. At least the one on Coruscant. But I know we've discussed this, and I know none of us have actually PvP'd yet, but I'd like to discuss the current state of PvP. Basically, I want to get your opinions on how they're bracketing it, because there pretty much is none. What's going to be going on is anybody from 10 to 50 is going to be in the game, or in the same bracket.
What?
Yeah, and how they're compensating is they'll scale your health to level 50 and scale your stats to level 50, but you'll be missing the skills, and you only have the skills that you'll have for that level.
So a level 10 can just auto attack, basically.
A little bit more than that, but yeah, pretty much. So
that's an interesting idea. I mean, it will border the gap between skill and level. Because if there's some really good level 12s, then they'll still be able to take down 50s without having an auto miss chance and stuff like that.
Well, my concern is that how do they scale it? Like, to what point do they scale it? And what point do you go above that as 50 with a gear, certain gear?
Do you know if the gear scales too?
I don't know exactly how it scales now.
Well, it seems like they would. Actually, we shouldn't even do this what if thing because we don't know.
Yeah, should probably shut up. But
if I'm a 50 though, I'm gonna love that.
Yeah, I think that'll be pretty cool. There are rumors this week have surfaced of that they're thinking about implementing an arena. Now, a lot of people argue that arena was something that actually killed WoW or helped killing WoW.
Who argues that?
A lot of people, because it makes balance nearly impossible. Because balancing between PvE, Battlegrounds, and Arena is nearly impossible because Arena is a whole different set.
They actually did take out abilities for Arena. I mean, the thing with Arena is if you take the abilities out completely, then it doesn't affect anything. Like you just say you can't use this.
Usually those abilities are only ones with like really long cooldowns, but I'm talking about like mechanic wise.
Well, mechanic-wise, it is technically impossible to balance 3 things. So yeah, it doesn't matter how good the game is. You can't balance everything for 2v2, 4v4, Battlegrounds, which are like 20v20.
It's funny you mentioned that. I just want to bring up something real fast. In Guild Wars, they have something like that. I don't know if you remember, Nick, but in the PvP, they actually have they have the same skills and everything, but some of them are modified to like lower damage or lower bleed times, stuff like that.
Well, I know that CC and stuff like that is like that, but um, I'm just slightly worried because it might throw the balance out of whack. But I guess we'll have to wait and see because it's still just a rumor. All right, let's talk about PvP. How did you guys feel about flashpoints, instances?
You mean PvE, right?
Yeah, did I say PvP again?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, PvE. Flashpoints, heroic quests, and instances, world bosses if you did them. How did you feel?
I didn't get a chance to do any.
I did a little bit of the first flashpoint. The only problem I had as a tank still is the threat meter. I'm not really. There's no way to tell if you are the primary target, if you're about to lose aggro, that type of stuff. The instances themselves seem pretty good. They're the idea that your group rolls a dice to see who's gonna make the choice is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
At the same time, I hated it because you could be trying to go for a specific path, and then there's just one dick in your group who disagrees. And
But that doesn't affect you. What affects you?
No, but it affects the actual quest line while you're in the instance.
That's true. Yeah.
And you could keep having to. I mean, to an extent, it doesn't really matter because for those that played WoW, Karazhan had like the Oprah event and the Opera. There we go. And you wouldn't get loot unless a specific boss happened. So.
But a certain person didn't have fate over that. I mean, now it's changed.
Oh no, but it was randomly generated.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
but loot is randomly generated also, so I think it's kind of different than someone choosing a certain. I don't know. Well, I guess the story path and in flashpoints aren't necessarily.
Well, I don't know if just the story path changed the loot.
I didn't think about that.
Because
I guess it would depend if it put you to a different boss.
Well, that's
which
what I
would
was
be an
going to say.
interesting mechanic.
I've seen clips where it's like you can choose to kill people or keep them alive, and I don't know if that later affects the loot that you get, or if it just affects the way you go about the same bosses. Like you'll have an extra person on your side, or something might happen somewhere else.
Maybe that'd be an interesting aspect to implement, if it's not already implemented.
But I only did one flashpoint, so I don't really know.
What about your view on how they instance heroic quests? Or your storyline? They're instancing?
Like your main quest line?
Yeah.
It's pretty well done. They only instance the specific zones. If you're typing that loud, I'm going to punch you.
Jake, stop.
You're cybering again. We got it. It's okay. No, I mean... No, it's cool, bro. It's cool. So yeah, like they only instance the specific places they need. They don't have an overly large amount of instances. It's only really the specific areas that you need to get in. It's seamless though, which is good.
Yeah.
You just walk in, it's immediately loaded. You can still see what's going on the outside, and then you just go straight through it. The only downside being there are buildings that you can't get into unless you're a specific class, and it just makes the game look a bit closed, like more linear than it should. But other than that, it's really well done.
I definitely felt that way with the Senate building Coruscant. Like I took a wrong turn and an area was blocked because it was for the trooper. But I think that the pros of that type of instancing weigh out the cons, and I think it's definitely one of my favorite aspects of the game is the way they do instancing. At least for your storyline. When they do it for like the world in general, I'm not too big of a fan of it.
Did they have any in the world in general?
Yeah, like there was in Coruscant, there was up to like 10 different instances.
Oh, you mean like 10 different instances of the actual world, though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I'm a little worried about that because I kind of like the open city atmosphere where everybody would gather there. But
I think that goes back to his Bioware Ready because that's just them being safe, right? So there's not overly amounts of lags and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or is there an actual reason for them to do that?
Not exactly too sure. I've heard people comment that it's just something that'll happen at release with the massive influx of people in certain starting areas. But I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I mean, you can switch between the instances really easily now. I mean, in the beta it was terrible because it used your like Hearthstone cooldown, in which case you can only switch, and if you had friends, you were fucked every 30 minutes if you went in a different one. So.
Yep. Well, you could use it even if it was off cooldown, but if it was on cooldown, it would kill it. So, My view of flashpoints was, I think, an overall positive one. They seem to require a little bit less face rolling than they did in WoW. You actually had to CC in the higher ones and pay
Whoa.
attention.
What WoW instances here?
Like you could
Vanilla? Are we talking like BC?
I'm talking. Oh, God.
You gotta be precise here.
I'm not like even like heroics for Wrath of the Lich King. That's the last one I remember. Even though I started playing before that. Like I mean, even heroics or regular instances, you could just face roll through them without even CCing in certain cases.
Yeah, the last time I remember CC was really important was like the sun. What is it?
It's somewhat
On the island. Yeah, Sunwell.
Yeah.
No, but here's the thing. That's if Bioware can handle the flaming they might get if they say the difficulty. Because obviously WoW used to be a lot harder, and because people complained, then it kept getting dumbed down and dumbed down. We'll see how Bioware react to that.
Yeah. So far, I like the difficulty aspect of it. Again, I'm gonna mirror the concerns of you with the lack of threat meter and the lack of a damage meter. I think that those are really important, and I think that before any raids really start going on, that they need to work on implementing those. Alright, questing. How did you feel about the questing?
I thought it was pretty amazing. That's what really made the game for me. I didn't get to any of the in-game stuff, like flashpoints or raids or whatever, but the quest, that made me happy alone.
Yeah. What was your favorite aspect of it?
I want to say like the quality of it, just because like the experience of it. You're typing, but like I thought it was just really well put together, and it actually makes a really enjoyable leveling experience compared to WoW. I mean, I would never read those quests ever, and I would just go on Quest Helper and just follow chains and all that stuff. But in Star Wars, you really get into the story, and it really like, puts it in your face to like not skip it and like read, listen.
I feel that even the side quests had a certain depth and story to them in a lot of cases.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
I liked within their quests, like WoW had, sometimes you'd kill a thing and you'd get a random item that would give you a quest. They have just random bonus quests in this.
Yeah.
So you kill like 10 of this particular mob, and then you kill 20 of it, and then it'll send you to kill the boss.
Yeah.
It's just like extra XP if you're doing quests in that area anyway. You get it, straight away. It's automatically in your quest log. Problem solved.
I definitely loved the bonus quest aspect. I think it really rewarded those who want to go the extra mile.
I debated some of the story though, and some of the side quests. Like the people took so long to say it to me, and I felt I shouldn't skip it because I need to know what they're saying.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, what was the correlation between if I just skip it, how much time am I going to save, to how much it's going to actually affect me doing the quest. Some of them are just pretty crappy, but the other ones are really well written, so it's kind of a give or take.
I definitely think that listening is probably the best way to go, because the quest logs are pretty vague unless you listened and know what you actually have to go and do. It points you in the direction and it highlights what to do, but I think it would definitely save a little time. But yeah, I liked the questing also. I found it quite enjoyable to other MMO counterparts. I basically am going to mirror what Aaron and Jake said. I like the voice acting and how it was all voice acted and really brought you into the story. I also really love the bonus quest option, because a lot of times you could do the majority of the bonus quests while just completing the regular quest, which gave you a good feeling. So, alright. Our last and final topic is going to be our overall impressions of the game, and how we think its future will be. Who wants to go? Jake, you go.
Sorry, can you repeat it one more time?
Basically, what are your overall impressions of the game, and do you think, how do you feel that it'll go based off of the platform that it has to work off of?
Well, I believe the beginning is going to be good. There's a lot of people, so of course people are going to find something to bitch about, because there is a lot of people playing, so they're going to find something. But other than the bugs, I mean, they can't really bash on the story because I thought it was pretty well done. At least for the beginning, I didn't. I only got to like level 12 on 2 characters, but I thought it was really good up to that point, at least.
Hmm.
And um, as for the in-game stuff, like I said, I haven't been there yet, but and the game hasn't been launched yet, and they're going to launch more stuff, I'm sure, on the release and in the future, closely after the release date. But like, I'm sure the game will be good. I hope it's not going to be something like Star Trek though, where it takes a while to
I
get
don't think
going.
it will be. Star Trek was really linear and it was really repetitive, so I think that BioWare already has a hand up on them. But I agree.
That's it.
All right.
All I'm gonna say is you guys need tablets. Like you don't know how much porn I've been watching during this. You can't even hear me typing. No. So, I mean, it's got quite a few flaws that I think I think they're gonna. I'm pretty sure they're gonna get patched in over the next month or two. Obviously, like aggro being one of them, that could affect people that want to get serious in raiding and instancing.
Hmm.
The other thing that really pissed me off was the map system, and because everything is instance, I couldn't see the whole map. I had to be only seeing the specific planet I was on.
Well, you could click where the little area, and it would take you to the next side map, right?
Yeah, I know, but it would be that particular planet that you're on.
Yeah.
You couldn't check all the other
Oh, I see.
planets if you had other
Yeah.
quests. You
You
couldn't say,
can't.
"I want to go there." You've got to go to that planet before you can see the map. Um, Other than that, I mean, everything else is there. It's got the story. It's Star Wars, so it's got a huge fan base automatically. And same with WoW. A ton of people are going to play it just to see the story, how it pans out.
Yeah.
And it's got voice acting. I mean, they spend a lot on it, so it does have to make a lot. I think I read somewhere that LucasArts was also taking a huge percentage of the cost. So as long as it stays about 1 million subscribers, which it should easily do, it's gonna be pretty good. I don't know if they've announced what they're gonna do for expansions or DLC or whatever they're choosing to do, but we'll see. It'll do well.
Yeah. I agree. I think they have their strong point is that they have a good platform to build off of. I think that their core mechanic system with the voice acting, the combat system, and how they're going about it is really strong. And I think that despite all of the flaws that it has, um, I think that when those get fixed, I think it'll be a really well polished game. And I think that it has a lot of room for expansion. So if they can iron out this flaws relatively quickly, um, I think that it'll go far, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. So that'll be it for this week's podcast. Check in next week. We'll be posting updates regularly on when they'll be released. We're probably going to shoot for having it uploaded every Saturday. So check us out at www.torsource.net. That is where we'll be posting video guides when the game gets launched of flashpoints and operations. And just we'll also have a streaming page where if you want your stream listed, you can put it there. And you can also download and listen to our podcast there. So we'll see you guys next week.
Each time you listen, Nick gets a new mic.
Exactly. I'm actually going to try to work on that. Alright. Have a good weekend, guys.
Peace.